The CYENS Weekly, an industry pundit podcast about the tech and innovation of the 21st century. An open discussion between industry experts to uncover how emerging technologies can help solve current societal issues.
Hi, thank you for hosting us here in Brussels.
Thank you.
We have Jakub Kajtman with us from the European Commission. Our episodes now in the season 3 will be in Brussels, and we're happy to be here and interviewing you and your colleagues and to hear all about the great things that you're doing at the Commission. Can you please tell a bit about yourself and what you're doing?
So my name is Jakub Kajtman. I have worked in the Commission already for 8 years actually, and I work in the department in the Commission that deals with digitization and digital technologies. And now I'm part of the team that deals with digital skills. So our aim is to bring digital skills to people, or actually to encourage people and give them the tools they need to improve their digital skills. And we have several initiatives, and you will talk about them also today with my colleagues, but me personally, I'm responsible for two things. The main one is the Digital Skills and Jobs platform, and we will, I think, talk about it today. The second one is EU Code Week, where I help my colleague, and both of these initiatives come into a bigger picture that is called the Digital Decade Strategy, where we have two concrete targets that we want to reach by 2030. So the first target is to have at least 80% of Europeans with basic digital skills, and the other target is to have 20 million ICT specialists in Europe employed by 2030. Currently, we are very far from these targets. On the basic digital skills, we are around 55-56% of Europeans with the basic digital skills. On the ICT specialists, digital experts, we are around 9 million. So our aim is to roll out initiatives, programs, and projects that will help us to bring Europe closer to these targets.
Can you please tell us a bit about the platform, the Digital Skills and Jobs platform? What is there? What is included? What we can find?
Yeah. So the platform is what we call a one-stop shop or a home for digital skills. So when we talked several years ago with stakeholders, with organizations, companies, we heard that it's difficult to find information about digital skills and to connect with similar initiatives or similar projects. So the EU member states actually gave us a task to develop a one-stop shop, a home for digital skills in Europe, where when you come there, you can find exactly what you need. So no matter whether you are a person who is looking for training, you are an organization looking for funding, or an organization looking for partnerships, or you just want to find information about good practices, inspiration, other, let's say, national strategies on digital skills and digitization, this is what the platform should offer. And last but not least, the platform also offers a community space where we want people to come in, network, work together. And the ultimate idea is that if there is an initiative that works well in France, it might also work well in Poland. And what we need to build is this bridge between organizers or between companies or organizations, so that they can learn from each other and can replicate this good practice, this success story from France, also in Poland, in Portugal, or in Sweden, or in Cyprus, of course.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Before we get into the good practices, I would to ask, this is all done with not assumptions, but with real data, using real data, making estimates of what the jobs in the future will like, the feedback as you said, you receive from the companies, the sustainable development goals that we need to reach by 2030.
Yeah.
So what would the jobs look like in the future? What is the estimates behind this that makes you do all these efforts to prepare us for the future?
Well, one thing is clear, and I don't know whether it will make you happy, but we don't know what the jobs will look like, because nowadays kids, when they are at school, the big majority of them will work in jobs that don't exist yet today. What we know currently is that 90% of jobs already require some level of digital skills, and this share of jobs will be growing in the future. So we know that on one hand, you will need really these digital experts, these specialists, who will be able to design AI applications for SMEs, or high performance computing applications for hospitals, for instance. I mean, a concrete example is that nowadays the doctor works in a certain way to find out whether you have cancer or not. More and more the doctor is helped by computers, but in the future, if we put in the computational power, if we put in the game also artificial intelligence, the systems will be able to compare the results from all over the world and figure out much faster and in a much more reliable way whether you have cancer or not. And then this doctor will be able to take much more informed decision. But of course, this doctor now does not only need to be the expert in medicine, but he also needs to know how to design or how to work with these applications, how to work with these systems. So to answer your question, not really based on data, but based on the analysis and on the, let's say, scientific evidence that we see, is that the jobs will look more and more like blended, so that you will be an architect, but you will need to be using much more of 3D printing or 3D modeling, or you will be an engineer and you will need much more of, let's say, cybersecurity knowledge, so that once you design your product, you will also incorporate and embed the cybersecurity elements. So these are the two ways. One way is the expert who will be designing the actual application, but then there are the jobs, and that will be a bigger majority, where you need to have these blended competencies, and that's where we try to focus and let's say lead towards.
That's great. It sounds complicated, fully necessary, but it seems like you found a way of how to make this unique blend and make it work.
Yeah.
So what are some of the good practices that you can mention that came out of this platform?
Yeah, well, there are many. You can have good practices from, let's say, education field, where we have, for example, an IT academy from Estonia that helps people to improve their digital skills. Or, for instance, I must mention a very good practice, Czechitas, which is a Czech NGO that helps women especially to after maternity leave, they take workshops, they take reskilling training to actually refocus their career on ICT. So that's one hand. The other hand is good practices that help really kids, and that's where, for example, Code Week or other initiatives that help them to understand what technology is about. And it's also linked with digital literacy and struggles about disinformation online, so that when kids are online these days, and they go through the social networks, that they recognize what is a disinformation, how to tackle it, or what could be a cyber attack or cyber harassment, so these kind of things. Then, of course, you have good practices that are provided usually by digital innovation hubs in Europe, where they help companies to train their employees, to train also the managers, so that the managers know how to undergo the digital transformation. We have many good practices also that look at digital transformation of public service, so that again there's training for public servants, so that they know how to use data and stimulate this data-driven policy. So you have a really wide range of good practices, and to get these we rely very much on our partners, which are the national coalitions for digital skills and jobs. So in each country, or almost in each EU country, there is a national coalition that is very active, that groups all the relevant stakeholders together, and these national coalitions are actually bringing these good practices to the platform and saying, in our country, these are the 5 projects that work well in digital skills and that we think that Europe should know about. And our job on the platform is to let Europe know about them.
Wow, that's great. I think it's very important, the last point you mentioned, because usually when you look from top, you cannot see the little details.
Yeah.
So having these national coalitions is the best way to
exactly.
do needs-based actions.
And we from Brussels, we don't have the capacity to go to every region. We don't have the capacity to look in Cyprus whether there is, what are the local initiatives that work well, while they could be really outstanding and extraordinary. So that's why we really need to work with these partners. And we are creating this system that the platform is not the only place somewhere in the middle of the internet, but we have also this partner website, and we also try to let's say tailor a little bit the offer, so that on the platform the offer of content and of stories and of articles, it's much more focused on the stakeholders, education providers, policymakers, and on the, let's say, national websites and the partner websites focus much more on individual users. You want a training, here is in the next city, in the region next to you, you can go for this training, and the training will be in your language. So we are really building this this community together with these national coalitions and with all the national partners.
Oh, that's great. And it's not just top to bottom, it's bottom to
yes,
top.
Exactly.
And it's part of the community building.
Exactly.
And you mentioned the community that you have it. How did you create? It was digital. This community is digital. How do you keep it engaged to make sure all this information is flown between all the members?
Yeah. So we have started already a couple of years ago. Of course, what was important was the political endorsement at that time, and the endorsement continues. So the commissioners and also the member states agree that there is need to go ahead and to improve these digital skills and to roll out these actions. So we have started, I think, 2016 with the European Digital Skills and Jobs Coalitions, and little by little there were national coalitions popping up all over Europe. So nowadays we have 25 of them. We hope, of course, to have 27 as the number of EU member states, so hopefully we will reach that. And on a practical basis, we meet them every month. We really push them to share their good practices, to share what they are doing so that the others know. And just recently, there were two very good examples, both from Central Europe. So one was that the three national coalitions from Central Europe organized a webinar on girls in ICT. So they really brought the experts together to discuss. But more importantly, there is another initiative which is called IT Fitness Test, which originated in Slovakia. And also, I hope also thanks to this collaboration across the national coalitions, this IT Fitness Test now is scaling up in the Central Europe region. So it's in Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, I think Austria as well. It will be growing even bigger. And this is another example of a good practice, because it's a test that helps students to understand what their digital skills are or where they should improve. And so we are really happy to see these initiatives, especially when they go cross borders, because then it means that we also contributed to building these bridges between the different national initiatives and regional initiatives.
That's great. And as it came to my mind listening to you, that you're also creating a way for innovation, that you provide the platform. A project comes up, it becomes an example. If there's proof of concept or it works, it starts expanding, and this might even influence and change the whole education system and universities in the future of Europe.
And the platform gives really access to the key people who are dealing with this topic in the member state. So if you are an education startup, let's say, it's very interesting for you to be on the platform, because once you register, you can also search through the member database. You can send private messages to people to contact them and to establish the relationship. So it's really a place where that on one hand it gathers a lot of content. So you can already search through the articles, through the stories, but you can also go and be connected directly to the people who are there. And last but not least, it's also a way for us to inform the community about what we do. And this does not only mean that we want to let them know that we are organizing a conference or that we are launching an initiative, but also there is we use it as a channel to inform about funding, which is of course very important for many actors. So we put the information there so that once they are connected, once they are signed up, they also receive information that okay, there is a new call published and that might be interesting for me to apply to.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was great. So just summing up, we have training available for people who are looking for upskilling.
Yes.
We have funding available for companies if they want to participate and have trainings for their employees or projects. We have startups that can come, or universities or other organizations to apply for funding to test new ways of upskilling or provide courses. There's a way to connect and come together with different community members. Probably, do you have something also for people who are looking for jobs?
we do have a section on career guidance, and there we also work very closely with other colleagues in the Commission, such as Europass or CEDEFOP. Because, so Europass, I guess you know it, is the tool where you create your CV, but it does much more than that, so it also will help you, and especially more in the future, to find the jobs. And CEDEFOP is, on the other hand, let's say the analytical branch where they have data, a lot of data about the job market. But also for those who are looking for a job, we have one more thing, which is the Test Your Digital Skills tool. And this is common with Europass, we have it jointly. And there, again, you have a test where you can go, you take a 20-minute test, and you assess your digital skills. Now, this assessment is not focused on advanced, so you will not be tested whether you know artificial intelligence or whether you know Internet of Things. It's more of a day-to-day digital skills, working with office tools on the computer, being online, creating content online, using social networks. And so based on the results of this test, the test will tell you where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses, and the platform afterwards suggests you also training opportunities. So in case you, for example, score poorly in online safety, the platform will tell you maybe you want to consider these 3 courses that are on online safety, and that will improve you the skills. So that's also a pretty powerful tool for individual users to go there, check it, and improve their skills, and this means that it will then help them in finding new jobs or better jobs.
Wow, it sounds like a great tool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us here, and we're looking forward to seeing how the platform will evolve. Excellent. And participating as well on the project.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Take care and goodbye. Thanks.
This podcast is brought to you by CYENS, former RISE, the Research Centre of Excellence in Cyprus, focusing on interactive media, smart systems and emerging technologies. For more information, please check our website on cyens.org.cy.